Greetings, viewers, NYC Resistance. Well, the creator said go hard, so I gotta go hard. So, some of y'all may or may not have heard that Ebola has come to New York. You know, another doctor, yet another one has come back, to New York City, and he's been tested positive. He tested positive for Ebola. They flew him back, to New York. They didn't fly him to Atlanta like the other two or three. They flew this one back to New York. You know what I mean? He's been in taxi cabs. He's been on the train. He's been bowling. You know what I mean? He didn't self quarantine like some of the others claim that they did. You know what I mean? He's been all around the city, just having a good time. You know what I mean? Putting his hands on turnstiles and railings and you know what I mean, and pressing buttons in the elevator, all type. I mean, just putting his hands everywhere, and just spreading Ebola around like like Skittles in a commercial or something. You know what I mean? Like I knew this was gonna be a pandemic. You know what I mean? When they tell you not to worry, you know what I mean? That's when they want you to worry. This government knows that people don't trust them, so they know whatever they say, people are gonna do the opposite. So they purposely tell you don't worry, knowing that you don't trust them and you're gonna worry. You know what I mean? Because the end goal is that the vaccines that I'm sure they got stored up in a warehouse somewhere. They want to get that scare factor up until you start begging them for the vaccine. Come on, government, produce a vaccine, keep us safe. We don't want to die. We'll take anything. And they'll do a little press conference. Well, we don't know. It's experimental. We don't want to put your lives at risk. Knowing damn well they want to kill you. Or sterilize you. It's not really tested yet. We almost finished the trials. We're working as fast as we can, knowing that they got a warehouse ready to go. But they're gonna monitor the social media and just wait until you're ripe with fear, and then they're gonna announce it. Good news: the FDA has just approved a vaccine. It just passed clinical trials. Line up like it's a Nike Air Jordans release, and the lines will be wrapped around the corner of the Rite Aid and the Walmarts and the pharmacies. I mean, who knows? I mean, school gymnasiums, just about any building they could secure, they're gonna be inoculating you people, man, just because y'all scared to death, man. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, they flew this doctor back, and I mean, like typically when you think about a Euro-American doctor, or a so-called white doctor. I would imagine he lived like, in Upper Manhattan on the west side, like near 42nd Street, the 20s or the 30s, even the 70s up to 96th Street. No, not this doctor. Guess where he lives? He lives in Harlem on 140 something Street, surrounded by black people. Not too far from me here in the Bronx. You see? So you see who's going to be affected? Black and Latinos. Like I've been telling people, it's all about race. And whenever when I started saying it's about race, I noticed that Euro Americans or so-called white people got angry with me. They got mad with me. They started calling me a racist. They started telling me they're not going to support me anymore. They started telling me that, just all sorts of negative stuff, man. That really really grinded their gears, man. They really got mad. And I said, oh, I hit the nail right on the head, didn't I? You know what I mean? Anytime you start seeing them getting upset and mad, you know you're right on target. This is all about race. And the only people that got something to worry about is black and brown people. Why? Because Ebola is a race-specific bioweapon made specifically to kill black people and brown people, but specifically black people. You understand me? In 1976, it was created in a bioweapons lab in Zaire in Africa to kill black people. It didn't kill enough. It went away because they had it in an aerosol form, and it couldn't really withstand the heat and humidity of Africa, of the African climate. So it wasn't that effective. You see what I'm saying? So then they made HIV. And they started saying, hey, it came from monkeys and it passed over to humans, and it's their own promiscuousness. That's what's spreading it, and that's why it's spreading so rapidly. You see what I'm saying? Anywhere where you catch these aid workers and And these missionaries and these doctors down there, that's where you catch the diseases. Anywhere you see them down there trying to save us, that's where we end up dying because we're trusting fools that don't look at history. You see what I'm saying? The European has been using bioweapons since they came to America when they gave the Native Americans blankets with smallpox disease in there to kill them. So they would die off and they could steal their land. You see what I'm saying? But I bet they're going to get mad when I call them Euro Americans. It's okay for them to call us African Americans, but if I call them Euro Americans, short for European American, they watch them get mad. Watch them start leaving stuff in the comment section, even though it's true and accurate. That's why the truth is so powerful. I told you the creator said, "Hey, make this video." You know what I mean? And they said make this video and just tell the truth. So I'm gonna tell the truth. You know what I mean? Because a person that has a brain and doesn't use it is no different than an animal who doesn't have a brain to use. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna use my brain. You know what I mean? So I look at history. I look at how they exterminated the Native Americans. You know, with by giving them blankets with smallpox. You know how they gave the Tuskegee Airmen injections, vaccinations that had syphilis in it, and they went home and spread it to their wives. You know what I mean? And watched them die horribly. You know how they spread HIV in Africa and Ebola during 1976. You know, just look it up. You know what I mean? And like I said, I don't have the proof, but there's a lot of people that believe that. And the United States government holds the patents for Ebola and HIV. They have the patents. You see what I'm saying? Why would you have the patents if you didn't create it, if you didn't make it, if you don't have any intention of weaponizing it and using it on people? They got the patents. You know what I mean? Here's the patent numbers. You know what I mean? You can look it up look it up yourself. You see what I'm saying? So I seen this coming because as I drive around, I actually pay attention to my surroundings. I look around, I see police on every corner. You know, not smiling at you, not tipping their hats to you like they do in Manhattan to the Euro Americans, but staring you down, looking at you angry, shining a flashlight in your face and telling you to move along like a slave. You know, writing in their notepad how many people they stopped, how many people they harassed, how many arrests they made. You know, how many people they brutalized, writing every move in a notepad. You know, totally unconcerned with helping people or assisting people. You know, the watchtowers that are everywhere. You know, watchtowers are something that are supposed to be in prisons, but they're putting them all throughout black and Latino neighborhoods. You know, or black and brown neighborhoods. Not even gonna use that. I try not to use certain words, man, like Latino and white, words that are just inaccurate. But just for the sake of you guys understanding me, I'm gonna use them. I'm gonna use them because I don't, I want people to understand what's going on here and how much danger we're in, man.